24th, 2024, Bank of Canada decided to hold the overnight rate at 5%. This marks the fourth consecutive meeting that Bank of Canada has had where they've decided to hold rates. So what's in store for 2024? Well, let's go over that in this week's video, diving into Bank of Canada's rate announcement and their presser on January 4th, 2024. As always, thank you guys for tuning into these videos. Hopefully you found some value in this. So let's get into my thoughts from my notes from the presser. Bank of Canada's meeting on January 24th was pretty short and sweet. I know the consensus around the industry was this meeting was kind of a shoo-in for a rate hold. It's too early to start looking at rate cuts. Although inflation came in a little bit higher than some people may have expected, still not really a case to hike rates. So the main thing around this meeting was the talk from Bank of Canada changed to kind of, be careful and don't spend money or we're going to increase rates to we're at an okay level. We're going to look at when to cut. When they're going to cut, they didn't say and they won't say because they don't want people to try and front run the Bank of Canada. Although Bank of Canada's language around rate cuts and rate hikes have changed, they still remain concerned. They state that over 50% of the basket of goods that makes up CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is increasing at a rate of 3% or higher. So this is concerning with inflation remaining elevated, and some of these items that make up the basket of goods are much higher than 3%, like rent is at 7 to 8%. And remember, these are elevated from year over year numbers, which were already expensive. So inflation and CPI still running pretty hot. So they're definitely not going to say we're going to cut at this date because then, like I said, people are going to try and front run the Bank of Canada and things may get out of control again. So they're going to be really cautious here. I think they may hold for longer than people think or people want them to. There were some questions from the press concerning mortgage interest cost contributing to this CPI data. They acknowledge that, right, that mortgage interest costs are much higher, which is showing inflation at a higher rate. But if they cut rates and mortgage interest costs come down, then there's going to be more consumer spending and more free money flowing into the economy. The economy is already slowing, so when they do that, it's going to speed the economy up, and then other items may increase, may become more inflated. Also, another question from the press, when is Bank of Canada going to cut rates? They were very firm on not setting a date where they'd cut rates because, again, then people speculate, people price these rate cuts into the market, and then things, specifically housing, may get out of control. People start spending more money because they think rate cuts are on the horizon. So Bank of Canada is really being hush-hush about this. They've changed the language to not being, so doom and gloom about that they're going to keep increasing rates like the US has in the past. But still definitely not saying we're going to cut rates. They're actively monitoring the situation and they're still trying to get that inflation down to that target of 2%, although that is becoming more and more difficult, it seems, as we keep getting this inflation data. Anyways, that's a quick synopsis on Bank of Canada's January 24th meeting. Next rate announcement is March 6th. Here's a prediction. I expect another rate hold. Again, thank you guys for watching these videos. Hopefully you found some value, and new video for you next week.